Mr. Dang, thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How is business? How are things going?
It is recovering. I'm very happy to say that we are about 80% of our pre-pandemic level in terms of revenue. So things is moving. Hopefully, the number of infections continue to drop and the recovery could be sustainable.
So 2019 was a pivotal year for us to be interacting with you and hopefully for you as well. Maybe you can share a little bit about how 2019 was for you, especially for this program.
It was fantastic. Of course, when I first participated in the program, I did not expect to win. So winning it is an amazing experience for me. I have to say that I've never been recognized to this level. So it has been a morale booster and inspiration. In a form, it is a recognition to continue to remind me that what I'm doing is right. Continue to be a better entrepreneur. So that's what I have been. Continue to remind myself that I have been a winner of EY Entrepreneur of the Year. Continue to drive, and during the pandemic as well, it's like I have to keep going. Even though the going gets tough, just the inspiration is truly helpful.
So you were recognized as probably the Malaysian Entrepreneur of the Year who pivoted the fastest because we had to do everything virtually. And I'm quite thankful that we were able to carry out the award program with you virtually. And so how has that impacted you? The fact that you had to do a lot of the international or global World Entrepreneur of the Year process globally. How did you find it?
I think when the pandemic struck, just like the business, you have to adjust and just accept the fact that things has gone virtual, webinar, courses, training. So even when I share my story, conduct programs, I had to do it virtually. So going through that experience of having it virtual, of course, you miss that physical experience. When I see on a video, it is amazing, in that kind of environment. But having said that, it was a pandemic year, so what could you do, right? So despite that, it is still an amazing experience. I was able to get my family together, participated in the whole program, virtually.
As I mentioned, we probably are the first
Yes.
Inaugural virtual
Yes.
Malaysian Entrepreneur of the Year
Yes.
Awards. We sort of hosted it jointly, and
Yes.
I must thank you for helping me to make it a success. We were quite recognized for doing it so well.
You guys did all the job. I was just sitting there.
So Mr. Dang, being recognized, and I think you talked about it, but I just want to hear a little bit more. Being recognized as one of Malaysia's best entrepreneurs, which is what we believe you are and continue to be.
Thank you.
How has that impacted you personally, and how has that impacted the organisation, MyNews itself? Maybe you can just share the personal side and the business side.
I think for the personal side, like what I've said earlier, the inspiration, the recognition, and the morale booster, those elements stays in me. It really helped. In terms of organization and myself as well, it does help in reputation and credibility. The market look at us differently. The fact that we went through the whole process of being vetted, being questioned, being studied, judged, the profile, it definitely helped in our profile. So that helped in credibility and reputation of the company.
That's very helpful, Mr. Dang, because we have many entrepreneurs out there who are still like you, looking at where they are and trying to figure out whether they're in the right space, whether they're doing the right things. And sometimes, icons like you are the people who actually motivate them to want to do better. And hopefully, at some point, some of them may come to the program and be recognized. because we always find that recognition of our entrepreneurs is a way to motivate many others to come through and build their own business.
That's very true, because being recognized by EY Entrepreneur of the Year, it multiplies. Other awards will look at you, and also things get easier. Things get easier to be done.
So, Mr. I just want to pivot to the pandemic, because I know in the earlier times when we have interacted, you always talked about the pandemic. Maybe you can just share with us, how did you experience the pandemic firsthand? And I know you had many actions to actually help the frontliners. So maybe share a little bit so that people who listen to this sharing will actually appreciate what it has been on the ground.
First and foremost, of course, nobody expected this to happen. So when it struck, we had to get our act together internally, give comfort, confidence to our own staff, and the fact that we are everywhere. I mean, we have at that time we have about 580 stores, and then we have a production food manufacturing facility, which is meant to serve 500 outlets. The capacity is up to 600 outlets. At that time, we were producing for about 300 outlets. So it is a fast consumption, high volume production capacity. So we thought with that kind of infrastructure that we have, we should go out to reach and help. So we started off with disputing. We know the police were working very hard, hospitals and all those. So we started disputing food and also coffee. Amazing things, little things like coffee is so well received.
Yes.
And so useful. You can see doctors, nurses lining up for coffee. Some do not want food but just coffee, and bring to cup coffee right on site and all those. So those are the things that we have been doing, and then later on we went on to distribute food baskets to some communities. So we select those deserving communities. So we have been giving hundreds of food baskets away, and it feels good to be able to do and reach out.
What I find amazing is that you've sort of gone back to the roots, right? And all of us started, and I know you started in a very challenging environment, and you were able to go back and say you need to contribute back to society, with the success that you've had.
Yes, and plus the fact that we are at that position. I mean, we have that infrastructure, we have the truck, we have things on hand, and we have that number of staff who is able to volunteers and go out to hospitals and all.
So, Mr. Dang, I know we are talking about a new norm, and I wonder whether it's new anymore, because we are getting used to this way of working and the way of adjusting the business, adjusting the manner in which we operate, right? I just want to know from you, how or what sort of advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there, to business leaders out there, based on your own experience? How do you adapt and make success out of a new norm in this era that we're in?
I think the fundamental elements remains. Like, as an entrepreneur, you have to be hardworking. You need the grit. I mean, keep going even though when the going gets tough. I think the pandemic proves it. Those who is not able to hold on, to persevere, I think you're not able to survive the pandemic. But the new norm, immediately, like in our type of business, customers expect hygiene, convenience, fast delivery. It becomes very, very important. Clean environment, quality, those becomes really important. And of course, the omni-channel comes in, hybrid. If you're not in a retail business, then even the offices, it has gone hybrid. You work from home. Yeah. So that remains. The omni-channel definitely will stay. Like in our case, we went online, delivery on demand before pandemic. So we were lucky in that sense. In year 2019 itself, we started with delivery. So during the first part of the pandemic, the business was really good for delivery. Then the other players also had the same. So that is the new norm, and super value that we spoke about just now is meant to meet the new norm because people do not want to travel too far. They just want to grab whatever there is within the locality, vicinity, and buy and take it home at their convenience. So these are the things that I think the new players have to adjust. Okay. I think beyond pandemic, I think ethical is an environment are things that new players or new entrepreneurs have to embrace. We have to be very ethical. With the open internet, everything can go viral.
Yes.
And environment is very important. We have to look out for environment. The recent flood just tells the whole world or the whole country that whatever you do, take care of the environment. Yes. Things can be wiped out, not only by pandemic, but flood, just like that.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up that part because what we are seeing is that ESG, environment, social governance, is becoming a big part of what entrepreneurs need to think about, and I can see that you are looking into it. Mr. Dang, I must thank you for what you do. My News is everywhere in Malaysia.
Thank you. No,
I'm so glad I have My News because it's near where I live and I can go to a My News and get what I need.
Still a long way to go.
And I hope that the business and yourself will progress. And I'd like to thank you for being part of Entrepreneur of the Year. Okay. And hopefully you will also continue to profile and promote our program because we need icons like you to help us. You're welcome. So thank you very much and do take care of yourself.
Yep.
All the best.
Thanks.